Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast series. Let's hear from her, Woman in NFTs. I am Alize. About me, I am the marketer at the Boss Girls. And today's session will be co hosted by our team lead, Khushu, and content creator, Rabia. So, before we head over to our speaker for today, let me quickly tell you what is this podcast about and why have we started. So basically, this podcast is all about highlighting the works of various women in not only the NFT space, but also in other areas. We aim to bring women under the light and provide them with a platform where they will be celebrated for their achievements. A live platform where women can unite, learn, and express themselves. A platform where they can build genuine bonds of friendship. So, the aim of our podcast series is to just bring women together so we can support and empower one another. So, today we bring you Rima from Women of Future. Women of Future addresses a very important issue, that is violence against women, and hopes to contribute 10% of their proceeds towards bringing an end to it. So, hello, Rima, once again. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. We absolutely love you, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. It's great to see women like you doing so well in the NFT space. It gives a lot of hope to little girls who are growing up and who aim to do great things in life. So, please go ahead, tell us more about yourself, your team, and about your project.
So, hi guys, I am Rima. I am the creator of Women of Future. Women of Future is a women led NFT project. We have a development team. Our team is very inclusive of both genders, and this project is you could say, a baby project of mine. So, I've always been an artist and I always loved drawing, and I've been drawing for the last 7 years, and I've always used digital platform. And I don't know whether like 5 years back, when you would tell people that you're a digital artist, and they would always say that, oh, but it has no value to it because people can copy your artwork if you post it online, and it doesn't take the pain to draw digitally because traditional art is more time consuming, more expensive to get the whole what do you call get the whole things to make whatever it's used to create the paints, the canvas, and everything. So I was like, okay, fine, I get it, but I like to draw it on my iPad, and I've always drawn on my iPad. So that's where my journey started. And fast forward 2021, early in the year, one of my friends told me about NFTs, and I was never in crypto before. So for me, getting into NFT was a whole learning process of how to create a wallet, what crypto is, which currency you have to use, what is a gas fee, and start over there. And in my close circle, nobody's in NFTs. People are in crypto trading, but nobody's into NFT trading. So, getting information, learning about it, the do's and don'ts, how to go about it, how a project is sold, or how a project is made, like what is utilities. I didn't even know that till I entered the NFT space, and I was heavily on Instagram, and then someone told me that the whole if you want to learn about NFT, go to Twitter, and Twitter is the best way to get all your knowledge out of there. And trust me, since I've come to Twitter space, my knowledge has like doubled just listening, going to spaces and listening to people, learning from all the women and the whole craze about women led, what the ratios of women creators. So it has been a very steep learning curve, and I'm very grateful for that because NFT is going so fast and it's evolving so fast that just to understand it, like I think you need it should be a university course now just to understand the whole NFT. So I started as one-on-one artwork, and then I used to just post it anonymously, and then I started later, I was like, you know what, let me just start a series of Women of Future. And that time I never knew a lot of women in our space, and I was like, let me just do it. And I used to hand draw everything. And then I realized what PFP is, what's the technology behind it. It's AI generated. I didn't even know what that meant. And then I learned that there's a whole minting code. Before I thought it was that you just need to post your artwork on OpenSea and that's how you sell it. Like OpenSea is like Amazon. But then I learned that there's a way to mint your project. And That's when I got my whole dev team together. And I was like, you know what? I might not know the tech part of it, but I can definitely learn and I can definitely contribute because I think it's better to learn than being ignorant in this place. So after that, Women of Future has become a Genesis project, which will make way to Women of Future 2.0, and that we have decided to make a proper PFP project where we can give bigger contribution to our cause, which is giving 10% to help women who've been victim of abuse and to create a safer community, not for women. That community is going to be all inclusive because I believe in women and uplifting women, but I think our space should be inclusive.
Yes, definitely. That is what we stand for as well. That people are usually, just choosing sides, that uh, they're trying to prove this point that women are better than men or men are better than women. There's this fight going on. So that's what we like to change. We would like to tell people that this space should be inclusive, and it's like a platform where women and men can coexist, and they can praise each other, uplift each other, and just make it a growing community altogether. So yeah, and like you mentioned, that NFT has like opened a window of opportunity for a lot of artists. Like I'm from Pakistan, and even here, we have these specific career where people are expected to do good. Like you can either be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer. You can be in the forces, or you can be a failure. So that's how it's like, that there are no opportunities for artists to grow. There are no platforms where artists can express their art, and they can make an earning through it, put food on their table. So I'm glad that this space is so inclusive, and that people are helping each other out. So yeah, you rightly said that, and like your story is amazing. Like you've mentioned that you've put together a team of devs. So are you all friends? Like, do you closely know each other?
Yes, we know the dev team. They are semi-doxed, so I can't talk too much about them. But they are very good at what they do, and they are very well known in the market, in the physical market. When people know them physically very well as who they are, and their name are very popular. But when it comes to the crypto world, they are semi-doxed. The only person who's fully doxed is me. Like you can find me on the internet. You can actually find out where I stay. So I'm fully doxed. But they like to be semi-doxed because since they are dev team and they are very techy, they like to. So their scenarios, they want to keep their crypto trading or anything very secretive. They don't mind being semi-doxed, but they don't want to be known completely.
All right. So yeah, that's okay. I can understand if people would like to keep it to themselves. But yeah, knowing that you know them and that you're semi-doc, so it gives like a sort of impression about your the people you're working with. So yeah. So moving on. Um, as you've mentioned about your journey, so I can like imagine that this journey would not have been easy for you. And for sure, there must have been many ups and downs that you might have faced. So, would you tell about some of the challenges you had to face, and how did you tackle them?
So, as we all know, that coming from an Asian family or an Asian background, there's only two types of career that is considered respectful. One is being a doctor or an engineer. And if you're not neither of them, then you're not even smart person. Like you're not even considered, oh, okay, she's not that smart. Probably that's why she has chosen commerce. Okay, if she's chosen commerce, she could at least become a CA or an ACC or CPA, as it's in different country, however they're called. So I was always an introvert, and for me, making friends weren't that easy. Not that I regretted it. I actually loved my childhood because my parents have done their best to give me the best childhood, so I have no regrets over that. What regrets I had is like how the socially people have accepted me. That's where I failed quite a bit, or probably people have failed me in that scenario. So, like for a couple, let me just say a couple of instances. So, since I come from India, and color is such an important factor over there. So coming from the north, people are usually on the fairer side, and I'm not in the fairer side. I am British, and people used to make fun of me. And I used to remember that I used to love dancing, and I used to go and try to like perform. And you need to participate. You need to like give like an audition in front of the teachers. And once the teacher came up to me and she's like, "Oh, Rima, you know what? You can't be a dancer. Like, even if you become one, you can't be on the main stage because you're not fair and it doesn't look attractive on the stage." And you know what? As a child, you're very impressionable. All these things hurt you. And I used to remember, they used to have this song for me. I don't know if people would get in the audience because it's in Hindi. So they used to call me like Kali Kaluti Jal Jal Luti Sanse Jal Kar Aaye. So it means that black black. You have been burned from the sun and you have come over here. And I remember my cousins making fun of me. I was like, Dreamer, don't touch me. You know what? Even I'll become dark just by touching you. And as a child, it used to like really bother you. And I used to pray to God, God, why did you make me this way? And I used to cry. And all of my cousins are on the fairer side. They have green eyes. They're beautiful. They have blonde hair because they're from extremely north and it snows over there. So I had to face that quite a bit. I had to face that in my school. Being an introvert, I had to face that also because people, my teachers, my friends, they thought that, oh God, she likes to keep to herself. Probably she might not be smart, or she might be a duffer. That's why she can't make friends. Her social skills are not that great. And I couldn't explain to them that it's not that. It's just that I like to keep to myself. And growing up with that kind of notion where you're always being targeted for your skin color, for you not being social with people, had always been so that it has made me kind of like a rebel without screaming at people. So I fight, but I don't fight with my words anymore. I just fight with my action. So going back to that, where when I grew up, so my parents always wanted me to do something serious in life, which was either become a doctor, engineer, or an accountant if you can't achieve the doctor and the engineer bit, because science apparently is very difficult. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try becoming a CA, and I started studying for it. I graduated majoring in accounts. I graduated from University of Wollongong, which is an Australian university, and then I started giving my ACC exam, and I passed till P1, and I was like, oh my god, if I go through this, I will become an accountant, and then there's no turning back, and you're going to regret for the rest of your life. And I went to my parents and I told them that, you know what, I can't do it. And I remember my dad telling me that, you know what, I could understand you can't do it if you're failing it a couple of times, but you're passing and you still don't want to do it. And you only have 3 papers left to become an ACCA. Imagine the respect. You can work in Deloitte, Ernest and Young, the top 5 accounting firms. And I was like, I just can't do it, Dad. And I left it. And my dad is like, okay, fine, get a backup job. So I was always heavily into education. I believe in learning. I believe in being informed. So I keep doing courses because I'm a very curious person. So while I was pursuing my degree, I even did a diploma course in event management and innovative marketing. So then I was like, fine, you know what? Let me just get a job in marketing for backup and let me pursue my art on the side. So I started drawing and I got a job, and then I got married and I kept my job. I still kept my job. I still draw, and today I'm here. And it is just that nobody wants to accept this career fully. That you can give your 100%. Like there's this fear in my head that even if I like even if I make it 100% over here, will I ever be able to leave my job? Because it's been so ingrained in my life that you need to have a backup. You need to have a backup. And for a boy, or for a respect someone with a respectful career, they would be like, you know what, go all out. If you're a doctor, you know what, let me open you a clinic, go all out, don't worry, you can take that plunge. But for an artist, nobody would be like, you know what, you can take that plunge, we'll support you. They'll be like, no, 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 get a backup job. Don't be hand to mouth, and go ahead and do it. So my whole collection is also all about that. The skin issues, the being an introvert is not a bad thing. It's people say that being people try to put it as a character, as a flawed character, and I always tell them it's not a flawed character. It's not a bad thing to be introvert. It's bad to be a bad person. If you're evil, that's a bad thing. That's a character flaw. If you're an evil person, or cruel person, an arrogant, angry person, being an introvert is not a bad person. And even in my office, like I remember I had one HR, and she was from London, and she used to always come up to me, like, Prima, you're really good at your work, but the only problem you have is you're an introvert. And I always used to look at her, and I used to be like, that's not a character flaw. That's my nature. It's not a bad nature. That's how people are born. If everybody is same or similar, then you're producing robots. There's no characteristics in people. And then where's the diversity? Where's the big talk of being diverse, having different accents, having different outlook to the world? We are born different. We're not born differently. We're born same, but we live in a different part of the world, and we have different cultures, which has influenced our upbringing. So yeah.
Definitely, woman of future. I would definitely agree that being an introvert is not a flaw. And some studies might even say that introverts are basically geniuses. So yeah, you're a genius, woman of future, and we support you. And even I am an introvert. I can tell you that. And it's not a problem as long as you're talking with people. You might not talk much with people like other extroverts do, but if you're having the basic conversation with people and getting along, so it's fine. I've seen people that talk a lot, and they have like in the course of it they're like hurting a lot of people in the way. You know how people who talk a lot, they come up with ideas, and they initiate conversations that might be uncomfortable for most people. So it's better if you keep to yourself, and if you're doing good in that space, then you're a good person, and more power to you. So and another thing that you've mentioned about the society and how it's like treating the children, and how it's like, and even now I don't see that how can we break this cycle, it's been generations after generations, and people are still like have this stereotypical vision in which they have like a fixed set of ideas which they do not think on changing, or they do not think on it basically. So that's what our aim should be, like, to just extract this notion of degrading women on the basis of how they look and how they present themselves, and they should just be praised upon what they're doing right now, right? And what they aim to do and what they're continuously doing. We're not like uh, empowered enough, and we're not like talked much about our accomplishments. Rather, we're degraded on the things that are secondary. So I think that's one of the issues of our society, and it should be addressed in some way or the other. So yeah, I would definitely agree that the society has and continues to.
You
Yeah,
know, I've Yeah, so I've always told my parents, like, now I've grown up, now I'm 33, so I can actually have a conversation with my family. So whenever I used to go back, I used to be like, you know what, you guys have given me trauma because of all what you have said. And then I've realized that, you know what, they never had the internet, and they brought up their children to the best of knowledge what they had at that point of time in life. And I don't blame that as well. Like, you are what knowledge you have. And the more you are exposed to the world, the more knowledge you get now from the internet, the more you change yourself, and the more you adapt to a situation. And they said that we never meant it in a bad way, but we never knew it would affect you this way. And even now, when I go to India, like I went to India last December, November, December, I went. And even then, like, my relatives, like, my parents don't say that anymore, but my relatives keep saying that, oh, Rima, do you remember when you were young? You used to cry when we used to call you dark, and they still bring up that topic again and again to remind me. And I was like, wow, it's been more than 20 years. How long am I going to hear this? Am I going to hear it till I'm like 80 years old? I hope they're alive by then. I don't know about that. But it is,
yeah,
it's so. annoying
And in
kind of
fact, we
thing.
might laugh on it right now, but somewhere another kid might be, another girl might be called on the same thing. You know, they might be called on the color of their skin. They might be called on how the dress they wear, what are the dresses that they wear, and how do they carry themselves. I mean, women are objectified on each and everything. And just for this counter mechanism that parents like consider, they're like, okay, maybe she can win this war by opting for a career that's like renowned in the society. Maybe then she might be taken in by the society, and she might not be called on for her the color of her skin or anything else. So yeah, one thing leads to another. I guess there should be, I don't know, there should be this movement, or this conversation should be initiated more. I'm glad that the internet came in like at our time. I wasn't really much into the social media platforms. I didn't have my Facebook account till I was in university. So till then, I was like, I didn't even know what woman empowerment was. I always thought that there might be some issue with me, or maybe I'm not doing something right. And I always used to bang my head on the wall, and just, put the blame on my own self that maybe I'm not good enough. So I see that a lot of girls are having this conversation in their mind, and they're fighting this war within themselves secretly. And they somehow carry this like trauma, like you mentioned, that this trauma still stays with you. So I like this stays with a lot of girls. Like uh, when you were sharing your story with me, I literally felt like it was me back in my childhood. So yeah, thank you for sharing that story. I guess more we share, and more stories we talk about, I think it would like increase the knowledge of a lot of girls, and they might initiate these conversations and start to point it out, like you're in the wrong, you know. So yeah, this is the society is to blame at the end. That's what I say.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And how did they make peace with me being dark? This is even more hilarious. They're like, "Oh, at least her husband is fairer than her." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Wow, that was the most cringiest thing I've ever heard." It's like, so what if she's dark? At least she got married to a guy who's fair to the Indian standard fair. And I was like, "Oh my god, is this I'm gonna hear for the rest of my life now?" So there is a lot of notion, and I completely agree that. And I'm really sorry that you also had to go through that. And it's very sad, especially at a younger age, when you get influenced by everything what people tell you, because already we're living in a very pressure time, where you're getting so influenced by your peers, by your family, by your relatives, by TV, by media. And on top of that, when your family thinks that they're supporting you by saying by thinking that it's a tough love kind of thing, but it's actually degrading and humiliating. So yeah, I do understand all that. You know what, I actually, to be very honest, I don't blame them, because I feel that it's what they knew at that time, for what the knowledge they had. But I think as you grow up, you need to change and accept it and move on, because it's no use holding grudges for the rest of your life, right? Because life is also very small.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't put the blame on the parents. Yeah, they try their best to just nourish you and give you the best bringing brought up. So yeah, they're not the ones to blame. But I would say that probably there's this narrative that requires to be changed. Like whenever we're talking about like what a girl should do, she should wear long, like in our region, it's like you should wear these long shirts and a proper covering dresses, so that you can so that you're not like subjected to any sort of violence. So I don't think that's how this should be addressed. Like if parents are telling a girl to wear long dresses or something like that, they should tell it that the society is like they don't have they're not knowledgeable enough to just uh, to just accept this fact. The society, like they should put the blame on the society, not on the girl, that you should not, oh, what are you doing, you shouldn't wear dresses like these or something like that. So yeah, and other than that, like whenever we're talking about these topics, this one thing it always comes in my mind. Do you think the government, like, it has some role in gender discrimination that upholds in our society? Like, can they change it? Can they like change the perspective of the society has? What is your opinion on that?
I think I absolutely agree that change comes from the top. If the leaders of the country decide to bring in change, then there is no one who can oppose that. And I cannot speak for other countries. I can speak for India because that's where I'm from. And most of the government sector jobs. Now I don't know about private, but I'm talking about government sector job because the change has to come from the leadership position, which is going to be the prime minister of the country, and they are leaders of the government job, but they can't dictate the private jobs. In government jobs, as of yet, only 33% women. They have like a quota system that we are going to allow 33% women in a certain department. So if it's like a sports department, there'll be 33% women, despite their caste, color, religion, background, anything. So they need to keep 33% women over there. I don't know about what private sectors are following. I think in India, private sector is usually male dominant, and they are very chauvinist and they are very patriarchal, and it is not a good scene over there because I've seen how they have used their power and abused it because they feel privileged, and luckily I didn't have to face that. But listening to few stories from other women, it's horrifying. It is so scary sometimes to be in that situation, like especially where you have like 70% of male population, no, male dominant company, and there's only like 30% women, and you can't even work late nights, you can't even show your performance. I think women are go-getters. I think women can do not less, but at least equal to what any other gender is doing, regardless man, whoever it is, all the genders. But how can we show our performance if we're so scared of our life? How can I show that I can work late night? I am passionate about it. I want to do something, but I'm so scared to stay late night because I don't know what's the next thing going to happen to me. And that's where we fall back. That's where our hurdles are. I'm in Dubai, so Dubai is the safest. It's voted the safest country in the world as of yet. So even if I go out at 3 o'clock and I work till 12 o'clock, everybody knows I'm going to be safe. Even if I walk at 3 o'clock at night, I'm going to be safe. If I do this in India, if it touches 7 p.m., I will get 10,000 calls saying that why aren't you home? Because it's so unsafe outside. You never know what somebody's going to do. In India, it's so common. Like, sexual harassment is so common. Catcalling is so common. Throwing acid on somebody's face is so common because you pissed them off on the wrong way. Probably you just voiced your concern in a louder voice and they'll just throw acid on you, and it is so scary to stay there. Okay, certain places are very safe, but those places are posh area. Not everybody in India is rich enough to stay in those areas. The ratio between rich and poor is very big. There's only, I think, 1% of population who is rich and well to do. What about the rest of the population who has to stay in shady areas? And it is very tough, you know for women, especially. Like, if I know I can finish this job, I need to stay back till like 12 o'clock at night. I can't do that. I'll be like, you know what? I can't do it. I'll do it tomorrow. And then they'll be like, oh, she's full of excuses. She'll always have to go home on time. And there's somebody always picking her up. And, once in a month, she has a period pain and she's pissed off at because she's PMSing. And there's just so much, it's just that it's a constant battle. And I think women now are so numb to it. Like, not numb, they're so indifferent to it because they've seen it so much that it doesn't even bother them anymore. I think they're just so used to it, and they're desensitized to it for to some degree, I feel.
Yeah, I think they can, because they can do nothing about it, they just adapt to it. I guess that's what's happening right now. So yeah, definitely what you're mentioning is pretty much what happens in most of the Asia regions. So yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And so we should move on, and I should ask more technical questions from you because people would like to know about your project as well. So, so tell me something more about your project. Like, for somebody who's like just starting off, what would you recommend? Like, what are the steps that you took to just form your project and just give it a name and the face that it has? So, what were the, like, for a starter, for a newbie, what would you recommend? Where should they start off?
So I'm going to speak based on my experience, what I went through. And so when I started, I needed to decide what I'm going to call my project, because I can't keep throwing my name everywhere, right? So I can't have like 10 different projects under one name. So I needed to give like a common name to one of the project, and that's where I came up with Women of Future. Anyone who is starting out, I would only give like two advices. Consistency is the key, and go to Twitter Spaces. Like, I have such a heavy Indian accent that even now, like, I fumble and I can't even finish my sentences. I forget the words because I'm thinking in Hindi and I'm saying it in English. So that whole translation happening in my mind is not fast enough for me to communicate to people. And I keep fumbling. And after some time, I've realized that, you know what, it doesn't matter. So you shouldn't be fearful. Just be fearless. Even if you can't speak properly, just say it. You always, there is a crowd for your artwork. There's a crowd. Every artwork, every project has a crowd. You just need to tap into your crowd and create every single day. As an, if you're an art, see, if it's a project you want to make money out of it quickly and then just go with it, then that's a different story. But if you are a real artist, create every single day. Talk about it, post about it, be consistent, be tactful also. So I've been to so many Twitter spaces and I've realized that people keep talking about the positivity, positivity, positivity. And I always say that too much positivity is also toxic, because that's not reality. In real, things are not overly positive. Otherwise, we would be in utopia. Like, we wouldn't be here. Like, so you need to acknowledge your feelings. Okay, there are days when things don't sell. There are days when you're pissed off, and there are days when you just don't want to talk to people. You need to acknowledge what you feel. So don't try to make your project, oh, we're so positive, we're so positive. Don't do that. Just be yourself, be you, and once you're you, people will love you for who you are. And that's the only thing I can say. And being tactful, I mean, is so you know what? There's another story. So where I work, my company is very supportive of what I do. So they never usually tell me that you can't do a side project while you're working with us. So they're very supportive. So once I went to my boss and I told him that I sold one artwork on NFT. That was, I think, mid to 2021, and I was really happy. And he asked me, Rima, how did you sell that artwork? I was like, I don't know. I posted like around 30 artwork, and one of them got sold. And he's like, that's what you got to do if you want to sell the second one. I was like, what? Create another 30? He's like, yeah, that's your conversion rate, right? You make 30, you sold one. Imagine if you make another 30, you might sell two. So either you do that or you qualify the people you're showing your artwork to. Show to people who understands your artwork. That's called qualifying your project, or the people, or the lead. And he was very scientific. Since I'm very artistic and very like la la land, I live in my la la land. So he told me that, Prima, selling is a science. It's science, and if you get the science, it's correct. I still make fun of it because he always tells me that. Okay, so okay, you sold 10. After how many Twitter spaces you sold 10? I was like, I went to Twitter space every single day, and I shared my project. Like, after, okay, you did it 10 times and you sold two. So now you know how many times you have to go to Twitter space. It's science, Riemann. It's maths. And I still laugh at it. And I think you need to talk to people who are logical and who can chart out your sales journey, because that is so important. Because for us, we are always like, oh, I love you and I love your project and I love this and I love that. But in reality, even if you love a project, there should be some sort of logical. Some people might think, oh my gosh, she's so blunt about this, but this is the reality of a project. Especially when you want to sell to a lot of people. all the if you see the trend of all the projects which have been sold out are all the projects which are very active on Twitter Spaces. So I think we need to learn, and I don't want to keep this secret to myself. I want everybody to know that like this is how you can sell your project. Be you, be consistent, and just show up. And don't get disappointed just because you have two failures. Don't just run away from the scene. Keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. Because after I think I sold my first one for 3 months, I made no sales. I could have been like, you know what, bye bye, like it's done, I'm done. But then I was like, you know what, one thing is that I can never give up. I can't give up on things. Even if it doesn't plan out, even if it takes 10 years, I will keep pushing. I will crawl, but I will not stop. That's one thing about me. Even though if I know that's a dead end project, I will still crawl. I don't know. That's something in me. So yeah, I think people should keep going on and on.
Rima, I love your story and the way you said consistency is the key to a project. And obviously, we can't be positive every single day. It's not that way. It's not the way the world works. I agree to all of your points. Yeah, you're an amazing person. I've been listening to you. You're an amazing person.
I think once I start talking, I cannot stop. That's another, I think, flaw of being being an introvert. That once you start, when somebody gives you the stage, you're like, you know what? Now I'm not gonna stop talking.
I am glad that we are those people you found the comfort zone with. I'm really glad.
Yeah, I'm also glad that they finally found a word for it. People like us. It's called an ambivert. So basically, who you feel comfortable with, you just talk like coherently with that person, and otherwise you're like silent. So yeah, I guess we're an ambivert then.
Okay, so I have a question. Rima, we absolutely love your art and it deserves the visibility. Please tell us something more about it. What inspires you to make these beautiful pieces and what softwares are you using?
So I use iPad Pro and I use a software called Procreate because I think that's the best tool an artist can have in today's age. Photoshop is too expensive for most of the people, especially when you're coming from third world country. And Procreate is pretty affordable. Of course, iPad is expensive, but we need to fight up battles. So my inspiration. So, if you see Women of Future, the Genesis collection, I've already dropped 80 pieces, and after every 20 pieces, the design changes. So, the first one was more about about skin issues we face in India. Like vitiligo, or what do you call freckles, and everything regarding that. The second one was the goddess issue, because in I don't know, in Hinduism they say that we have 33 crore gods, avatars of God. So I wanted to show that, and the third one was the planet warrior because I think we live in a pump and dump situation country. We use single use plastic. We don't care about the planet, and we are just going blindly towards our own destruction. The fourth one is actually my favorite one because I feel that most of us go through that, and consciously, unconsciously. So if you notice that the women, they don't have an eyeball, and it symbolizes that to put a blind eye on things. When you see an uncomfortable situation, and even if something your friend is doing wrong and it's an uncomfortable thing, you put a blind eye. And there might be a couple of reasons for that. Probably he or she is your friend, or I already have too much issues in my own personal life. Why should I take somebody else's issue? So, this word called undekha karna, and this is where the whole concept has come out. Because I don't know in our society, but I think around the world, people are taught that, we already have so much issues going on in our own life. Why do you want to step in and become a hero? And I want to make people realize that, you don't have to step in and become a hero, but even if you acknowledge that, what you're doing wrong, what you're doing is wrong, will put a spotlight on the perpetrator, and this way he or she will be like on a spotlight and be aware that, people are realizing that I'm doing something bad. you don't need to go fight with them or go into a brawl with them. Just acknowledge that, what, I see you and you're doing something wrong. And I think even saying from your mouth those words are so powerful that people don't realize it, that if you say someone you don't know and you step in and say that, what you're doing is wrong, that one line would put that person on the spot, and he will see, it will subconsciously make him realize that, what, people are actually started noticing my bad doings. Don't put a blind eye to things. I'm not saying that go fight and become a hero and go punch someone on their throat. No, don't do that. But at least don't be quiet about it. Speak out. Like, speak out. And I think it is also a learning process, because for me, I usually don't speak out. If something upsets me, I completely cut off from that person. I will never say the reason why I did that. But I realized that it's better to speak out, make them realize, and probably patch up that friendship rather than completely cutting off from that whole person. So, all my artwork is a story behind what I was, what I can be, what I want to be, how I want to be. And yeah, because, the reason I say it's all about me is because I'm the only person I know, and I don't know anyone, just to be very honest. Like, I can't judge someone and be like, okay, just because she speaks to me in a certain way, this is her character, this is her nature, and this is what she stands for. I don't know deep down who stands for what. Like, what if everything is a facade and people are just talking just to talk, kind of thing. So I take me as an inspiration and I draw. Of course, the faces are not mine. I wish I looked that good, but yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that, and I love it. Yeah, how you tell about your story, like what inspires you to draw these characters. And I think art is a very good medium to just tell about how you're feeling, and it helps you to actually translate your feelings in a way that also tells about what you're trying to say, and is also like undercover in a way, right? So yeah, I'm just seeing your artwork right now. Each and every piece is so beautiful, and you might have like some kind of a story linked to each character. So yeah, that is truly inspiring for us.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Also, can you tell us like what is your mint price, and which blockchain are you using?
So, like I said, Women of Future are two collections. One is Women of Future, which is the Genesis collection. There, I am only going to draw 200, which will be hand drawn each and every piece. And that I have started from 0.02 to get an early entry advantage for all the Women of Future holder. And Women of Future 2.0 is a PFP project which will be hand drawn and AI generated. And I'll be releasing that soon. It'll all be on my Discord channel as when I'm gonna like release the whole project. But as of yet, the tentative mint price of that would be 0.07, and whoever is the holder of Women of Future Genesis project will have a privilege, a whitelist opportunity, a better pricing for them. So that's what we have decided.
All right. So so last question for today, because we're just crossed the time limit we set for ourselves. So the question is that what does being successful means to you?
I think being successful means to me stop feeling desperate about things and stop feeling desperate about situations. And I feel that once I can conquer that, I would actually be successful, because I feel that you can live in any condition. It's all your mindset. Uh, like, we have lived in every condition, and by God's grace, we have always been happy in that condition. Let let us have money, not having money, it never mattered to us. And when we were younger, since we came from a very remote area, our parents came to the city, and not that they were flooded with jobs. So my dad actually worked as a laborer, but we were never sad about it. We were always happy. I don't know why people try to portray people who are not well to do as sad people. Like, the whole media portrayal of people and classes is so bad, and I feel so bad about it, because when we were young, my dad used to hardly make money, and trust me, we were so happy, and we had no fights in our house. We were such a big, nice, happy family. We used to get 2 meals, 3 meals a day, and I think that was the best life. I still feel that I could go back and live that life. And when we became a little better, even that was also really good. So I think when you stop feeling desperate about the situation what you're in, that's when you're successful. It's like I don't count successful in terms of money. I feel it matters whether you're content or not, and that's one thing. It's very hard to achieve. I feel in a lifetime. I feel.
Yes, definitely, I would agree. It's all about the mindset. It's all about how you take things around you. So, okay, so time to end today's podcast. I must say, I had a really good time talking to Rima, and it was like a pleasure to get to know about your project. So, thank you for sharing your vision, your voice, and of course, your mission. We wish you all the very best. We're looking forward to seeing your project reach new heights, and we will continue to support you with all our heart. So, again, I would like to thank our listeners and our friends for stopping by and showing so much love to the first episode of our podcast series. We appreciate each and every one of you. Guys, please do take out a few minutes to follow Women of Future and the Boss Girls. Hope to see you all in our next podcast too. Rima, if you would like to add something before we close, please go ahead.
Thank you for having me, and I would like to wish you girls all the best. You guys are so brave to do a podcast by yourself, and I think that is such an amazing feat. Because, like I told you before, I myself won't be able to do that because I am so nervous. And so, best of luck, guys. I wish you guys reach success, and whatever you guys are achieving, you reach your goal, and that's what I pray for. So, best of luck, girls.
Thank you so much for the appreciation. And with that, we will end this space. Sushil, if you would do the honors.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for joining the podcast. See you till next time.